Welcome to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but want to be its friend.
Hi, I'm Corinne Caputo. I'm a writer and a fun person and a friend to the universe.
Yay! And also a friend to me. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Moiya McTier. I'm an astrophysicist, a folklorist, and a friend to Corinne and to the universe and to stories. I love stories, especially fantasy ones.
Yes, I need to get into more fantasy because I just decided that I don't like it. And I
like when you were a kid, you were like, this isn't for me.
This isn't for me. And that's not really like true. But now I think it just made the world feel more manageable of like, if I don't engage with an entire genre, then I can handle things.
That sounds like such a Corinne line of reasoning.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I understand. So, Corinne, have you ever seen Lord of the Rings?
I have. And actually, my husband will watch it the moment I fall asleep on the couch. If we're watching something together and I fall asleep, he's immediately popping over to Lord of the Rings. So I've seen it for real, and I've heard it in my sleep a number of times.
I just gained like 5 respect points for Eli for that. Okay, so this is not your first time seeing this space. Listeners, I decided that for today's episode, I would bring us into the Pale Blue Pod special transport machine. I would toggle the fantasy world switch and take us to Middle Earth. We are sitting in the Shire. The grass is green. The breeze is cool. There is a party, probably someone's like 98th birthday party going on over the hill. It's a beautiful sight.
It's gorgeous here. It's so beautiful. I did always wish this was real, so it's a treat to be here.
And Corinne, I don't know about you, but I've never been the tallest person around. But this is nice.
I haven't either. I wouldn't even say I'm tall. I'm like 5'7", but I didn't get this tall until later in life. So I was always the shortest person in my class until like, I don't know, sometime in high school.
And then you're like, look at me now.
Relatable.
Suckers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, see ya. I'll be up here.
Okay, so this is a return for you in a way. So we are in the Shire to talk about a scientist who is unfortunately no longer with us. Went before her time.
Yeah.
Really did. Today we're talking about Dr. Beatrice Tinsley, and we're going to tell you about how she grew up and what she contributed to science. And then I have I think a fun game for Corinne at the end. I don't know if I've actually told her about it yet.
No.
But we'll get to it at the end. It'll be great. Okay, awesome. So first we'll start with where she came from. Where is Beatrice Tinsley from, and does it perhaps explain why we're in the Shire?
Yes, it does a bit, because I'll tell you about her early life. Early life. 1941, we're in England. Chester, England. I'm sure there might be a British way to say that, but it is spelled Chester.
Sure.
Her parents are Jean and Edward Hill. He's an Anglican clergyman, born to like a, quote, traditional shipping family in England. So I imagine that means like boats and ships and trade and things like that.
Yeah, I don't think they mean like wishing that 2 fictional characters would get together.
Yeah, I wish.
But can you imagine?
A traditional shipping family. I've come from a long line of shippers.
I wish.
Jean and Edward, they're from privileged upper class families. They met through their involvement in moral rearmament, which is this charismatic religious movement. The members have 4 absolutes. So it's absolute love, absolute purity, absolute honesty, and absolute unselfishness. It's really giving cult.
It's giving cult, but that was also a whiplash from absolute purity to absolute honesty, which I'm kind of behind.
Yeah. And unselfishness.
Yeah, unselfishness.
I like community.
Yeah,
but like
but
a little
need
bit.
To be a little selfish.
So they live by this, apparently. I don't know what that actually means for their personalities, but
it's giving the Divergent series.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh my God, you're right. Like you go into the houses and like you're so right. Her dad, Edward, got a master's from Oxford, and he also studied theology and law, and he served in England during the Second World War. But in January 1941, Jean and Edward have their second daughter, Beatrice. After the war, Edward and Jean begin to consider moving overseas or trying to escape like this post-war vibe. Like there's scarcity and rationing and like whooping coughs going around, chicken poxes going around. And there was some dissatisfaction with their extended families, said one website. So I'm like, they're not getting along. I'm curious if it has to do with the religion. I don't know. But
their other family members aren't as pure and honest.
Yes. There's not absolute honesty in this house. I'm going to have to go. But they're exploring where to move. And though she was born in England, they end up moving to New Zealand. So first they're living in Christchurch, which I think is a city, not a church.
Yes, it's a city.
Then they moved for a long time to New Plymouth, where her father was a clergyman. They are still involved with the moral rearmor movement or religion. And then later he became the mayor for a year.
Oh.
Interesting enough.
Interesting. Just moving in and taking over.
Yeah, really. So in New Zealand, the Hills are seen as this like glamorous, wealthy, upper-class family. And for 2 years, Beatrice played the violin in the National Youth Orchestra. There's a quote from the New York Times that says, Beadle, as her friends and family called her, had a healthy disrespect for authority, which would influence her attitudes toward both science and religion. And as she grew up, her two loves were music and mathematics. And she's the middle child of 3 girls. They all attended the New Plymouth Central Primary School and the New Plymouth Girls High School, where she excelled academically. She got a prize each year for piano, violin, and just general academics. She's been described as like intense and intelligent, and as a teen began asking big questions, like seeking answers from science rather than her parents' religion. So she joined her school's astronomy club. She was inspired by Fred Hoyle's book, The Nature of the Universe. And in 1957, her final year at school, she studied math, chemistry, physics, and English. And she was the Dux of her school, or Dukes. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but it's D-U-X. And I looked it up, and it's the person who's like first in class. So like valedictorian is what we would call them.
Oh, okay. Ducks?
Ducks of her school. That's what it says.
We should take that. We should steal that.
You're such a Dux.
Yeah.
She won a scholarship. She was one of 10 in the whole country to be offered this.
Okay.
And in 1958, her mom, whom she was very close with, died.
Oh.
Sadly. But this takes us to her university experience, which is where a lot of the work she's known for would begin. Yes.
So I can take over there when she started doing the sciences more officially. In 1958, she enrolled at Canterbury University College. She was studying maths. I love how they say maths. Which is, I guess there's more than one.
Of course.
There's geometry, there's trig, there's algebra, there's more. Yeah, she studied the maths and also the physics.
The physics.
and just the one chemistry. Not the chemistries, just the one chemistry. She graduated in 1961 with a bachelor's of science in physics. And then she, I guess, immediately enrolled in a master's program also at Canterbury University, where she graduated a year later after working on a solid-state physics project, even though she wanted to do a cosmology project. So she wanted to study early galaxies and kind of like the early phases of the universe, but instead she was stuck studying the physics of solid matter. And along the way, she got married to a guy named Brian, who also happened to be a physicist at Canterbury. And the only reason I even mentioned that at all was because if they hadn't been married, she could have gotten a job at Canterbury University. But because of anti-nepotism rules, she couldn't be hired at the university where her husband also had a job.
Yeah.
So he ruined her career. But also sexism probably wouldn't
that's
have helped either. Yeah. So in 1963, both of them moved to Texas, where Brian got a job teaching in Dallas at what eventually was the University of Texas at Dallas. She also couldn't get a job there, but she thought maybe if I get more credentials, then people will hire me. So she enrolled at a PhD program, but she couldn't get accepted to a PhD program in Dallas, so she went to a program in Austin. She went to UT Austin, commuting.
I was going to say, that commutes like hundreds of miles.
Yes.
Yeah.
She commuted hundreds of miles and still got her PhD in less time than most people today take to get it. She started in 1964, finished with her PhD in 1966. This woman is a machine. She was advised by cosmologist Dr. Rainer Sachs, so she did eventually get to do her cosmology projects. And her thesis was called The Evolution of Galaxies and Its Significance for Cosmology, which is her getting into what she was eventually really, really known for, which was galaxy evolution, which is also one of the subfields of astronomy that I worked in.
Aww.
For her thesis, this is incredible, she did numerical computations to calculate the masses and the star-to-gas ratios of a galaxy every billion years. She described it in her thesis as like the small step of 10 to the 9 years. I'm like, girl, you're doing a time step of 1 billion years. Do you know how much galaxies evolve in 1 billion years?
That is a huge amount of time.
It's a huge amount of time, but she was working at a time when, we had only known that galaxies were a thing for 40 years, and people still thought galaxies were static, that they didn't evolve over time. So this really was groundbreaking. And these are numerical computations. These aren't simulations. She's like running the equations. She's writing out these. She might have a computer that can do the equations for her, but she's not running this through a simulation that's just like doing all the work on the back end. She's advancing each step on her own with her own math. It's wild. I have so much respect for that because it would totally be a simulation today. The Fire and Illustris simulations that we talked about a couple episodes ago are cutting edge.
Sure.
And if Dr. Tinsley were alive today, that's what she would be using.
Yep.
At her thesis is when she's starting to challenge the existing beliefs in cosmology that the universe would end in the Big Crunch. We did a whole episode on the potential ends, like the potential fates of the universe. But Corinne, do you remember what the Big Crunch
The Big Crunch is when it all will go in on itself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So right now the universe is expanding, and back in the 60s, the top minds of astronomy believed that eventually that expansion would slow down and then contract in on itself, all eventually crunching together. In 1967, after she has her PhD, but she's still around UT Austin, she goes to a lecture by Dr. Alan Sandage, who's a really big deal in astronomy at the time. And after the lecture, I think during the Q&A, she confronts him because he has just finished saying that the universe is going to end with all of the things coming back together. And she is this young, fresh doctor saying, no, older established person, you're wrong. You're misreading the data and you're not taking these things into account. Boss bitch moves. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, sure.
That started an academic feud that continued until she died, because this whole thing wasn't proven. The accelerated expansion of the universe wasn't proven until 1998, when 3 scientists, 2 separate teams, found evidence for dark energy, which is speeding up the expansion of the universe. They showed definitively that it's not slowing down. So that's a busy time. She just got her PhD. She's already beefing with a huge name in the field.
As would I.
Good. I love that. And the rest of her career is spent doing a lot of work that demonstrates that galaxies do evolve, and we can observe that evolution. We can actually pick out different parameters to pay attention to and measurements to take. So she spent a few years jumping around on what astronomers call soft money. She didn't have a salaried job. She was bouncing around on grant money or being paid by other people's grants. She did a 3-month stint at Caltech in 1972, and then a 6-month position at the University of Maryland in 1973. For a little bit, she was an assistant professor at UT Austin. And all of this was because Dallas had that same anti-nepotism rule that Canterbury had, saying that she couldn't work there because her husband worked there. And so she decided to solve this problem in 2 ways. She said, well, I'm going to leave my husband so that I can work wherever I want. And also, I'm just going to go be a professor at Yale. And she was. She was the first female astronomy professor at Yale as an associate professor. She divorced her husband and left the 2 children that they had adopted together on Christmas Day.
Whoa. The drama.
Yeah. The drama. She leaves them on Christmas Day, goes and spends a few months at Caltech with this guy named James Gunn, who she's known as a colleague for, since 1967 when she was at a conference in New York. She goes out to California. They do research together, but also I found an obituary, like a bio on her that was like, nah, they were lovers.
Yeah.
For sure. So she makes that major life move and then works at Yale as a professor from 1974 until she dies in 1981 from cancer at age 40. She was working up until she died. Her last year alive was her most scientifically productive. Her entire right side was paralyzed.
Wow.
She taught herself how to write with her left hand and continued doing research and publishing. She published 10 papers in 1980. She supervised grad students. She wrote references for previous students. And one of the papers she wrote was a 100-page review article on the evolution of the stars and gas in galaxies. And it was an update to what was probably one of her first papers after getting her doctorate, a 1968 paper with the same title. And I really liked looking at the 2 of them, comparing them.
Yeah.
It showed how far she came and how far the field came, like, during her career. Pretty incredible.
Wow. That is a lot of work, especially in your last... Maybe she was scared and, like, wanted to make a huge impact.
Yeah. She was clearly very passionate about her work and dedicated. I can't imagine. She was literally working from Yale's infirmary.
Sure. Wow, that's so much.
Yeah. And even before that, she was showing how brilliant and dedicated she was. Hi, Dr. Moiya here. Corinne went to grab us some potatoes and meat pies, if she can find them. I'm sure she'll be able to. But in the meantime, I wanted to share some quick messages with you. The first is a podcast recommendation. It's another show in the Multitude Network, and it is one of my personal favorite podcasts. I listen to it every week. It's called Spirits. This is a history and comedy podcast focused on everything folklore, mythology, and the occult, but all told through the lens of feminism, queerness, and modern adulthood. Every week, mythology buff Julia and her childhood best friend Amanda get together to learn about a different story from mythology and folklore over drinks. So the name is a pun, which I love. That's everything from mythological origins of major franchises like Lord of the Rings, very timely right now, or Wonder Woman, or Pokemon, all the way to modern urban legends that listeners send in, to a roundup of werewolf stories from around the world, or even a series of episodes where I join the Spirits team to channel the gods and other mythological figures to provide advice. It's called Advice from Folklore, in case you want to check it out. You can start listening now to any of their more than 400 episodes that they've released over the last 7 years. There's literally so much to enjoy. So whatever type of folklore or mythology you're interested in, there is something for you to find. You can dive in now at spiritspodcast.com or search for Spirits wherever you download your podcasts. Okay, now I want to say thank you to our patrons who support the show every single month financially. We appreciate each and every one of you, but especially our sun-like stars. So thank you, Lissa, Scott Reynolds, Ian O'Leary, Augustin, and Tom T. You're golden, and we love you. If you are not already one of our patrons, what are you doing? I didn't mean that to be harsh, but we would really appreciate your support, and you get some perks. You get to hear your name on the show, you might make it to our patron star chart, and you can see research notes for every single episode that we put out, all for just about $1 per episode. We're even offering an annual membership, so if you sign up for a whole year up front, you end up getting a 13% discount across the entire year. That way, you pay less, and we know that we have a whole year's worth of support, so it's a win-win situation. description. You can find our star chart, our Patreon info, and more at our website, palebluepod.com, or you could go right to patreon.com/palebluepod if you already know you want to support us financially. And if you can't do that right now, that's totally fine. We love you. You are still space. There are other ways that you can help the show grow. You can rate and review the show on whatever app you use. I love reading them anytime a new review comes in. You can also share the show through word of mouth. So if you take a link to an episode that you love and send it to someone, that's a great way to get them to listen. Or if you are just talking with someone and they seem like they might be interested in space, recommend this fun podcast that you listen to, and then they will listen to it too. Corinne is back with some potatoes. I definitely see steam rising off of them. I'm so excited. But we're going to munch on these snacks and then get back to the episode. So her big areas of research, I'd say there are like 3 of them. She studied stellar aging and how stellar evolution will have observable effects and consequences. She studied the differences between young and old galaxies, and she was instrumental in clearing up the debate about the open versus closed universe. So is the universe going to keep expanding forever, or is it going to contract back in on itself? Within stellar aging, she studied chemosynthesis models for stars and supernovae. So again, before real computer simulations, she was doing numerical calculations to figure out how much of different elements would be produced in different types of stars and in different supernova explosions. She studied stellar populations in different types of galaxies and in different ages of galaxies, all to understand how individual stars evolve and how populations of stars evolve, like really tracing it through. For the differences between young and old galaxies, she established different strategies, both like analytical, so hand doing equations on paper, and model-based, different strategies for understanding the evolution of elliptical, spiral, and SO-type galaxies separately. So she has like papers and strategies for all of the different galaxy types.
Wow.
Yeah. She's I'm going to say it again. She was a machine of a woman. And she had this cool 1978 paper that showed something we just discussed a couple episodes ago. Galaxy mergers can trigger star formation. And if you listen to that episode, you will have heard how that knowledge has advanced since Dr. Tinsley did this work. But still, like, she was one of the first people to show that because people thought galaxies didn't change over time. And then she did so much work for the open versus closed universe. Here's a little context. Edwin Hubble basically discovers that we are in a galaxy in 1920 and then discovers the expansion of the universe later that decade, like in the late 1920s. Dr. Alan Sandage believed that expansion of the universe was slowing down, and his conclusion was based on a few faulty assumptions. He assumed that distant elliptical galaxies that he was using to measure distances were something called standard candles. A standard candle in astronomy is a whole class of objects that all should be around the same brightness. So you know how bright they are, and you know how bright they look, so you can measure or you can calculate how far away they are. Does that make sense?
Yes. You can calculate how far away they are by these things you're observing about them.
Yeah, literally just how bright they are, because the further away you are from a bright object, the dimmer it looks. But we know how that relationship works. We know that the brightness falls off with the distance squared. Like, we have that equation, so we can just back out how far away it is if we know how bright it is naturally and how bright it looks to us.
Oh, love. Easy.
Love. Yeah, standard candles are amazing. But Sandage was using these elliptical galaxies as standard candles because he thought elliptical galaxies, or all galaxies, would stay the same brightness over time.
Oh, so their distance is staying maybe similar, but their brightness is going down.
Right. Well, really, the problem here is that he's assuming they're all the same brightness. So he can use that in the equation, but they're not.
No.
So he's trying to measure their distances, but he doesn't actually know how bright they naturally are.
Yeah, you're going to need that piece of info.
And so in 1968, Dr. Tinsley wrote a paper countering Sandage's claims, and she said that those giant ellipticals could actually change in brightness over time as their stars evolved. And so she kind of undermined all of Sandage's methods. Yeah. As a fresh doctor. Love to see it.
I'm sure he didn't like it.
No, probably not. In 1974, before she went to Yale, when she was working with James Gunn, her lover, post her divorce, together they were studying the evolutionary paths of stars, which we've talked about in a previous episode. And together they determined that because stellar populations can get dimmer over time, then galaxies can also get dimmer as they age. And they kind of took that information and they used it in a paper they wrote that same year with some other collaborators. James Gunn, John Gott, David Schramm, and then Dr. Tinsley was listed as the last author on the paper, which is really annoying, but probably because she's a woman. So they wrote a paper that was called An Unbound Universe, and they argued that the universe isn't dense enough to end in the Big Crunch and instead could expand forever. And I really liked their abstract. For some reason, the abstract just seems like I liked how it was written. So I'm gonna read it.
Yes, please.
The first thing you read when you open this paper. A variety of arguments strongly suggest that the density of the universe is no more than 1/10 of the value required for closure. This is the clever part. Loopholes in this reasoning may exist, but if so, they are primordial and invisible, or perhaps just black. They're like, sure, there could be loopholes, but like, they're just black holes. They're
Yeah. I like that.
I thought it was funny. And that would kill at a stand-up show at an astronomy conference.
I was going to say, with the astronomers in the audience.
So they wrote that paper in 1974, but it wasn't until 1998 that the accelerated expansion of the universe was proven. That was by Adam Rees, Saul Perlmutter, and Brian Schmidt. All three of them collectively were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2011. It took them a while for finding dark energy, or like for defining dark energy. Yeah, she did a lot.
I feel intimidated, but impressed.
Yeah.
I feel really frustrated that she felt like she had to choose between like family and work and finding a place she could work that would accept her. And on top of all of that, there's just like this general sexism of just being a woman in academia.
Yeah.
And then I feel frustrated that she died so young because there were so many contributions she was making. And also she seemed to be doing it in this really fearless way. So I like it. I'm glad that she was here at all.
Yeah, I'm like imagining how my trajectory could have been different if she was still alive and was still a professor at Yale. Like maybe I would have done a PhD at Yale to go study galaxy evolution. I was really into galaxy evolution when I was in undergrad. Like there were so many possibilities, and the field definitely lost out on a great researcher, at least.
Yeah,
at least. And that shows in the legacy that she left behind. While she was alive, she won just like a crap ton of awards. You said it, like when she was in school, she was winning for like piano and violin. She was winning all those awards. She was the Ducks. Yes, she continued to be the Ducks.
Certainly we're saying it wrong. Certainly both of those ways to say it wrong. But
you know what? Now that's our in-joke.
But that's
anytime
the way
someone's
we say
like,
it.
A1, top of the class.
Such a Ducks.
The Dukes.
It's giving Ducks.
Yeah. It's giving Ducks. I love that. And she didn't stop in high school. She continued that in university and in grad school. She won all the awards and scholarships at every stage. In 1974, she was awarded the Annie Jump Cannon Award, which is given to an outstanding woman in doing research in astronomy. And a bunch of things have been named after her. The American Astronomical Society has the Beatrice M. Tinsley Prize for outstanding creative or innovative contributions to astronomy and astrophysics. There's also the Beatrice M. Tinsley Centennial Visiting Professorship in Astronomy at UT Austin. So they're like honoring the fact that she was a professor there. And New Zealand in 2010, they named a mountain after her.
Whoa, that's big.
That's literally, yes.
Literally big.
Named a mountain after her. She also has an asteroid named after her. Asteroid 3087 is the Beatrice Tinsley asteroid. The Royal Astronomical Society of New Zealand has the Beatrice Tinsley Lecture Series, and there's a building at the University of Canterbury named after her, and I'm sure this is not an exhaustive list.
That is a lot of awards.
Clearly was quite impactful. But yes, I have an activity for us.
Yay!
So in the past, when we've covered more recent researchers, we have played this game where I asked Corinne to identify which paper title I made up and like which was written by the actual person. Beatrice Tinsley has 85 refereed scientific articles on ADS, 150 non-refereed articles, so like poster abstracts or conference talks or whatever. But there are, as far as I can find, almost 100 very reputable scientific articles written by this woman, including a short article she wrote for Physics Today in 1977, where she was recommending that people not put their personal information, like a marital status, on resumes, which is interesting because if you look at how she signed her name on her papers throughout time, by 1977, she has switched from publishing as Beatrice Tinsley to BM Tinsley. Like, she's trying to remove information about her gender from public-facing things because people are discriminating.
Sure.
Like, really discriminating. So she has all of these papers, and her science that she represents in them, it's all great, but love her to death, her titles were boring.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. They were really, really boring. So I was wondering if we could take her most cited papers, which were cited because the science was great, and rename them to make the titles as great so that other people would pay attention.
I'm in.
Fantastic. I'm saying that we are yesifying or clickbaitifying her paper titles.
Yes.
Great. So I'll tell you the paper, I'll describe what they do in it, and then you can give me the yesified title.
Oh my God, yes.
You're already starting. Awesome. So I'm going to go back to that 1974 paper, An Unbound Universe. It was published in 1974. It has 329 citations, and she's the fourth author. It opens with the line, "Desist from thrusting out reasoning from your mind because of its disconcerting novelty."
That's hard for me to follow.
What a bold opening. They're saying, like, hey, stop rejecting information just because it's new.
Love that. Agree.
Yeah, that's their opening line. They continue with a lot of math and diagrams, trying to, and successfully, proving Alan Sandage wrong and showing that the universe's expansion is, in fact, speeding up. Mm-hmm. So what would you call this paper if you wanted people to actually pay attention to it? Saying, like, the universe is going to keep expanding. We're not going to do the big crunch. Alan Sandage was wrong.
This feels like a chance to be like, don't be left out. The universe train is leaving the station, or like something about how the universe is growing and like, you got to get on board.
The universe train is leaving the station. I would click on that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, it's growing.
Because what does it mean?
What does it mean?
Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative. It is provocative. I would click on that.
It's more of like an email subject line, but it's that is what I've been working on at work. So
it's the universe is leaving the train station.
No, just email subject lines.
No, was that what you would call this paper?
I think it's like, I think it has some kind of like phrase at the beginning, like,
the colon.
Don't be left out.
Yeah. Don't be left out, colon.
The universe
is leaving the train station.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's extra appropriate because our episode on the ultimate fate of the universe, we recorded it on the 6 train here in New York.
You're right. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Okay. You didn't even know. It's great. Okay, number 1. I love that. Number 2, she called it Stellar Lifetimes and Abundance Ratios in Chemical Evolution. That's boring. It's a snore. Yeah. She published it in 1979. It has 470 citations. In this paper, she examines the common assumptions about how stars produce other elements inside them, like the irons, the carbons, the nitrogen and oxygen. And she kind of points out that the people who have been doing this work before have been making faulty assumptions and ignoring a lot of factors. Like they're completely ignoring the initial iron and carbon abundances, and that has an effect that people aren't thinking about. And people aren't taking into account the proper progenitor for a supernova. So if they see a supernova, they're not thinking about how it actually formed and where it came from. And she just goes through all these assumptions and is like, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is how we actually need to be doing it.
This feels like a chance to be like the top 5 things experts missed.
Yes. Number 5 will shock you.
Yes. Number 3 is going to blow your mind.
Is there a supernova pun that we can include in there? Number 3 will send you into a shockwave. Will explode. Yeah, something. I don't know. This is why I'm not the copywriter.
No, that was perfect.
Okay,
I'm
great.
And I'm clicking no matter what.
I know. I want to see what the experts have missed.
I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, and I want to see if it's actually going to blow my mind because they so rarely do.
Yeah.
All right, we're about to get into big citation counts. Number 3, she called it star formation rates in normal and peculiar galaxies.
Maybe a little more exciting, maybe.
Slightly. She published it in 1978, and it has 1,050 citations as of today. In this paper, she constructed a whole bunch of different, fake galaxies. Essentially, she created a grid of galaxy evolution models where she varied different parameters. So she was building up different galaxies that have different star formation rates. And she was looking at different snapshots in time. And she was looking at different masses and whatever. Also, she could compare those models to observations. And this is the paper, that 1978 paper, where she said that mergers can increase star formation rates. But just star formation in a lot of different contexts and how it's different than how people expect it to be.
This is like the secret, like the secret to star formation rates, inside or, What's the secret to star formation rates?
Yeah.
We found it.
How does that galaxy get so many stars? The insider tips in page 17. like a beauty hack.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, I have actually a better one. I think it's the one simple trick that will increase your star formation.
Yes. Just one simple trick.
Just the one simple trick.
It's an easy
merging.
Okay. Number 4. She called it Evolution of the Stars and Gas in Galaxies. This is her 1980 version, not to be confused with the 1967 paper with the same name. But this 1980 version has 1,360 citations.
A lot, yeah.
It's a lot. And it's a big boy. It's 100 pages, basically saying everything she knows, everything she has learned in her career about how galaxies change over time. She's talking their star formation rates, how their colors change, how their temperature evolves, the initial mass function, which is when you have a population of stars forming from a gas cloud, what's their distribution of masses? She talked about how galaxies can lose gas, how their mass changes over time, how the abundance of different elements will change. She listed so much in this 100-page paper. I'm glad it's been cited this many times because it's clearly so valuable. Yeah, the effort she put in deserves it, but also there's a lot of valuable information in that. And I kind of wish I had known about this review article when I was writing my book.
Might have been nice.
Could have been nice. Although, that was 40 plus years ago and the field has advanced a lot, but that's also valuable to see what we used to think and how it's different now.
Yeah, for sure. That feels like a personal essay to me.
Ooh.
like, just, I'm obsessed with this. Like, I'm obsessed with stars and gas and galaxies. Find out why. Or, like, I can't get enough of the latest trend in stars and gas and galaxies.
I'm obsessed with this, and now you have to be too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
The top 100 pages of galaxy knowledge.
That is really good, because this is kind of like her magnum opus. This is the last big thing she put out in her life, and it's encompassing everything she's learned. So it is like her intellectual memoir.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Number 5, she called it The Evolution of Disk Galaxies and the Origin of S0 Galaxies. I devoted my life to studying the universe, and I wouldn't want to read that paper.
Yeah.
Such a snooze fest.
That's so funny. So who's it for then?
Yes. Throwback to our publishing episode, and like, who are these papers even really for? Because this whole practice is coming out of a culture of just publishing for the other like 20 members in your little academic society, and now we're still writing the same way, but our papers ostensibly can be seen by everyone. Whatever. So she publishes this with great science but a terrible title in 1980, and it gets 1,487 citations. Probably
a lot again.
Still getting citations, like, as we speak. For those of you who aren't familiar, S0 type galaxies are right between spirals and ellipticals on Hubble's tuning fork, which we talked about in that Galaxy Mergers episode. From the abstract, it is suggested that S0s may be disk systems that lost their gas-rich envelopes at an early stage and consumed their remaining gas by star formation. So she is kind of reintroducing people to this class of galaxies that we've known about for about 60 years and saying where it came from for the first time and like how we think they formed. Like, hey, you've seen this, but did you really know what was going on?
Okay, I don't know if this is scientifically at all correct, but I feel like this is a question headline, and it's like, did this galaxy eat its own gas? Yes. And that's it.
Yes. Absolutely. That's for sure scientifically correct, because yes, the SOs, they consumed their own gas by turning it into stars. Yeah.
And then we find out, yes, they did. Yes. They ate their own gas.
Wow. That's fantastic. It's like you do this professionally.
Yeah,
or something.
Scientists, let me know if you need a punch up. Some of those are more clickable than others.
I know you jest, Corinne, but I have actually been emailed by people.
You have to punch up. Do it for them.
People have asked me to pay them to make my scientific articles like funnier or to put together entertaining explainer videos.
They're asking you pay them? I'm saying they should commission you.
Nah, bro.
That's a lot.
Multiple times I've gotten emails being like, hey, we can get your article in front of more people. Yeah. Pay us several $1,000s and we'll make a little explainer video for you and like punch up your abstract writing.
No, that's weird.
But, maybe some people are doing it and maybe you could get in the game.
You know what? As long as I don't have to cold email anyone, because that is one of the worst things to do.
Couldn't agree more. Awful. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm hearing a distant flute, which is iconic of the Shire.
Yes.
So maybe we can catch their set and then get back in our machine.
We can have some 11Zs.
Yeah. One of the best meals of the day. And listeners, please get yourself some 11Zs too. And remember that you are space.
Bye.
Bye.
Pale Blue Pod was created by Moiya McTier and Corinne Caputo with help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston and our cover art is by Shay McMullen. Our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton.
Stay in touch with us and the universe by following @PaleBluePod on Twitter and Instagram, or check out our website, palebluepod.com. We're a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. If you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live on our website at multitude.productions.
If you want to support Pale Blue Pod financially, join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod. For just about $1 per episode, you get a shout out on one of our shows and access to director's commentary for each episode. The very best way, though, to help Pale Blue Pod grow is to share it with your friends. So send this episode, this link, to one person who you think will like it, and we will appreciate you for forever.
Thanks for listening to Pale Blue Pod. You'll hear us again next week.
Bye.